This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Shalom Aleichem, good morning, welcome to our viewers on Torah Anytime. I want to dedicate the Shiur for the Hatzlacha of Ben Zion Ben Dosa, him and his family, Refuah Shelema, Shimon Ben Fega, and Le'ilui Nishmas, Shendel Toiba Bas, Yosef Aaron, the grandmother of our dear friend Avadia. Emetz Hashem, she should be a Melitzas Yosher for you, for the entire family, and for Klal Yisrael. Zoi Satoya Adam Ki Yamus Ba'oyel, and Chazal Dashin, one has to, as if, kill himself in order to be successful in Torah. Even if a person becomes poor. The Rambam in Hilchos Talmud Torah Perek Aleph Halacha Ches says, Afilu ani hamisparnes min hatzedakah umechazer al hapsochim. Even if he's going collecting, he needs to dedicate time and sit and learn Torah. Steipler, Zatzal was a Rosh Yeshiva in Bnei Brak. He was giving Shiur in there. One day he says to one of the Talmidim, please tell all the Talmidim that today the Shiur is going to be in my house. Okay, so everybody comes into his estate, a 2x2, and there's not even enough chairs, nobody can sit there, they're all standing there. And the Steipler is in his bed, he's sitting in bed, covered with a blanket. And that's how he gives a Shiur. Finish the Shiur, so the Talmidim are about to leave. So they say, Rabbi, Refuah Shelema. And he says to them, Baruch Hashem, I feel fine. Why Refuah Shelema? Baruch Hashem, I'm great. So why are you in bed? Why are you covered with a blanket? He said, oh, no, I only have one pair of pants, and this morning they tore, and can't get out of the house like this, can't walk in the streets. But you can't be mevatel Torah because you only have one pair of pants and they're torn. Adam ki yamus ba'oyel, and a Torah niknet ela b'mi shemimis atzmo be'oy hala shel Torah. In this parsha we learn about Tumah and Torah, and the most severe of all the Tumas is Tumas Mes. We learn the Avodah Zarah, Chav Zayin, most severe. But why is it the most severe of all the Tumas? All kinds of different Tumas. Fascinating 3 reasons by the Chizkuni. Chizkuni is one of the Rishonim. And first he says, because the Torah didn't want people to hang out with their dead bodies, dead relatives, a friend. Oh, somebody died, let me go hang out with him. The Torah doesn't want you to do that. Memele, it's the most severe tumor, people will separate. Or, in order kedei shelo yehu doshin el hamesim uvalei ov, to distance us from seance and other matters pertaining to the Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want you. Person died, go and bury him and don't do anything else. And the most fascinating reason, mipnei kvod habrios. What's kvod habrios? That the people shouldn't use the bodies to make a new rug. That's what the Gemara says. That's what the Medrash says, and the Chizkuni brings this la'alocha. This is the reason Tumas Mes is so severe, because the Torah says, listen, people are going to run a little souvenir from daddy, and they're going to make a rug out of their skin. They're going to make vessels out of their bones, and therefore Torah says, distance yourself from a dead body. It's very, very tamid, the most severe of all the Tumas. 3 fascinating reasons. Avraham Avinu says about him, says, Va'anoichi afar va'efer. So Chazal mentions this in Soita Yud Zayin, and for the merit that he says, Va'anoichi afar va'efer, his descendants will merit 2 mitzvahs. And they are Para Aduma in our Pasha, and a few weeks ago, Pashas Naso, Soita. What's the connection? He said about himself, Anoichi, I am. Afar va'efer, dirt, ashes. Oh, dirt and ashes here. You get the Para Aduma, you get the Afar of the Soita. What's the connection? So there's many reasons, and I think we spoke about it in the past, but some say. Afar, does it have future or past? Afar doesn't have a past. It only has a future. You're going to build with it. You're going to do something with it, but it doesn't have any past. Ashes, Efer, it doesn't have a future, but it has a past. Avraham Avinu conducted himself like Afar and like Efer. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him, Lech Lecha, I want you to leave. Leave your birthplace, leave your mishpacha, leave your career, leave your friends, leave everything behind. He separated himself from the past, just like the ashes. He nullified his past for the will of Ribono Shel Olam. He also nullified his future. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I want you to take Yitzchak, who is your continuation, who is your future, who is your promise, and put him on the Mizbech and shecht him, no problem. He was willing to nullify his past. He was willing to nullify his future for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What is the afar of the soita. It reveals what was here in the past, whether the woman was tameh or not. What is the efer of the para aduma? It's going to purify for the future those who are right now impure. So the midah keneged midah, measure for measure, in what Avraham Avinu did. Afar v'efer. You're willing to nullify your past. You're willing to nullify your future. So you get two mitzvahs, which in essence are the same. They are revealing what happened in the past. They are helping us in the future, and that's the measure for measure, afar v'efer, to the para aduma and to the soita. Zois chukas haTorah. This Torah is eternal, and it doesn't change. One of the principles of our faith is Zois haTorah lo tehe muchlefes. It will not change. Rabbi Yankele Galinsky Zatzal said that a guy once came to him, and he said, you know, you guys, you don't change. You're so static. 2,000 years. You're the same. You know, in the new computers and cell phones, every couple of weeks there's an update. Your system requires, your operating system, a real shakeup, a real new update. You have to adapt, to adjust to changing times. Be a little more modern. I'm not telling you to just adapt a little, some changes. So Bianca Legalinsky says, can I ask you a question? He says, yeah. What happens if your kid, he grows, the foot grows, and the shoe is very tight? It's hurting his foot. What do? So there's two options. You make the shoe a little wider, and in yesteryears that's what they used to do. You cut up the front so the toes have room. Or you don't do anything, and the foot will continue to ache. That's what everybody knows, but there's two more options. Option one, walk barefoot. Keep walking barefoot. Or buy a new shoe. And that should be the second option. Buy a new shoe. Or walk barefoot. Or don't do anything. But nobody speaks about the fifth option, which resolves everything. Cut off the toes. Your toes are hurting? Cut off the toes. Why don't anyone suggest that? Because it's clear that the foot is the ikar, it's the main thing, and the shoe just comes to serve the foot. That's clear to all of us. By us, it's clear to us that the Torah is the main thing because the Torah came before the beginning of the world, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu actually, the Gemara Zohar says, looked in the Torah, and that was the blueprint for the world. So Mimele, we don't have to take the Torah and to adapt it to our lifestyle because we're not the main thing. The main thing is the Torah. We have to take ourselves and to adjust and to adapt and to fit the Torah and not vice versa. But since by you, he says to this person, man is the ikar, he is like the foot. Mimele, so something doesn't work for you, you chop off certain parts of the Torah and you throw it out. So this guy says, no, Rebbe, I didn't mean that. I just meant to be naked every so often. So Bianca says, yeah, could be you're right. It could be you're right. So I have a suggestion. Why don't you give me your name and your mother's name? And I'll tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu that there's a Yid here, he wants to give him some advice. And maybe they'll call you upstairs. What is your name and your mother's name? If for some reason this guy didn't give him not his name, not his mother's name, so Mele is a status quo and we don't touch the Torah, and the Torah is eternal and will never be changed. A riddle for Inyana de Yoima. In the last couple of years, everybody is speaking about drones. Right? Drones became part of our lives, unfortunately. How can it be that a person flies a drone on a weekday, Monday morning, Wednesday afternoon? He didn't damage anyone. There's no Indian of Nedarim, everybody is healthy, and yet he's going to get Malkus. You fly a drone on Thursday at 1 p.m. Malkus. No damage whatsoever. No Nedarim, everybody is healthy. Malkus. Lemaise. How can it be?
I don't know, but Hezekiah somewhere?
No damage whatsoever, including Hezekiah. No damage. And do you get Malkus for Hezekiah?
No. Aaron Joseph in New Zealand. He flies it off the coast.
Monday, a complete Monday, Tuesday. Tuesday, no matter where you are, it's going to be complete, a weekday, not Yontif, not Shabbos, a weekday, Monday afternoon.
Taking a picture or something, or just flying?
No, Ezekiel, cameras are not working, or there's no cameras at all. You took a drone, you flew it over, you flew it? Marcos. Can it be? Can it be, yes or no? Now the details? Details are from Rabbeinu Rambam. The Rambam speaks about drones. Were you surprised? Rambam. Rambam in Bias Amidash Peragil Halachot Zayin writes, if you throw vessels, Tameh vessels, to Makom HaMikdash, it's an Isur Torah. You don't get Kares, you only get Malkos. Since a drone is made out of Tameh metal, we're all Tameh today, and since the Kedusha of the Heichal and the Azara is not just in the Karka, it goes all the way to the Shamayim. Mimele, if you fly a drone over Beis HaMikdash, it's as if you're putting it on Beis HaMikdash, it's an Isur Torah, and you get Malkos. And it's connected to Parsha Shavua because of the Tumah. We all know the Kohen gets the first Aliyah, the Levi gets the second, and the Yisrael gets the third. Where does it say this in the Torah? Kohen first, second, Levi, third. Where is it? Does it say that in the Torah? Does it say that in the Torah or it's the Rabbanon? It's the Kanas Rabbanon. Mipnei Darkei Shalom, but it says it in the Torah. Leika midi delor mize beoraisa. And in Sheni, the beginning, right, the pasuk that ends Rishon, in Sheni, the pasuk says, "V'nasan alav mayim chayim el keli." What is mayim? Mayim is always a reference to Torah. Sheneema hoy kol sameh lechul hamayim, Tanis daf zayin, in other places in Chazal, mayim is always Torah. V'nasan alav mayim. Chayim is also a reference to the Torah. Etz chayim hila machazikim. But when you pour water into Klal Yisrael, El, you pour it into a keli. Kaf, Lamed, Yud, first the Kohen, then the Levi, then the Yisrael. This is the Azikenim, Ibale Atoisis that bring this remez. You see Kohen, Levi, Yisrael, that's the right order, and it's mentioned already, the Derech remez in the Torah, which leads us to a riddle. Kaf, Lamed, Yud, a vessel. Who is that vessel? Kohen, Levi, and Yisrael. A Kriyas HaTorah riddle. Did you ever hear that on Shabbos they're going to read half a parsha? How parsha? Half a parsha. Lechatchila. Everybody is healthy. There is a Sefer Torah. Everybody was in shul last week. There's no Inin Nidarim, no Pikuach Nefesh Hayla, half a parsha. About half a parsha on a Shabbos. There's a Baal Koreh, he knows how to read Sefer Torah kosher lemehadim. There's more than 10 men. 150 men, tzaddikim, tzaddikei ador. Only half a parsha. Lechatchila. When does this happen? 2 possible answers. Not everybody together? Can it be half a parsha lechatchila? Perhaps it has to do with our parsha Shavua. When Yom Tov Sheni falls on Shabbos, like this year, what happens in Chutz La'aretz? They're back. One parsha, right? We are reading Chukas today. What are they going to read in Chutz La'aretz? Koilel from last week? When do they catch up with us? Some places Matos Masei, some places, most places, next Shabbos. Chukas, Balak. However, the opinion of Reb Sadia Gaon and some Yemenite congregations do this. This week, they're going to read Parshas Korach that they owe from last week and half of Chukas. Next week, they're going to read half, the second half of Chukas and Parshas Balak. Pillei Ploim. They're going to read 43 psukim today out of the 87 psukim. That's sort of half of the Pasha. And next week, they're going to read 44 psukim. That's option number 1. Yemenite, some Yemenite congregations based on Reb Sadia Gaon. The other option, they have half of the Pasha, is when the Shvi of Pesach falls on Shabbos, no matter where you are. What's the reading for Shvi Shel Pesach? Shira Sayam, that passes B'Shalach. It's not read according to the order. We already passed B'Shalach, but we're reading B'Shalach. We are not reading the entire Pasha. The entire Pasha has 116 psukim in B'Shalach. We don't read that. What do we read? It's Shabbos. It's Shvi Shel Pesach. We only read the relevant material to us, which is Perek Yud Gimel, 6 psukim. Perek Yud Daled, 26 psukim. 31 psukim. And Perek Tesvav, 26 psukim, which is 63 psukim only. Out of 116. It's sort of half of the Pasha. Mimele, half a Pasha, Lechatchila. On Shabbos, 2 options. Shvi Shel Pesach, and today, tomorrow, according to some Yemenites, based on Reb Saadia Gaon.
Did I do that anywhere else? I've seen that done somewhere. I don't remember.
I've never seen it done. I normally don't daven with Yemenites, and not all Yemenites do this. Some Yemenite congregations based on Reb Saadia Gaon.
I remember someone did.
Never saw it happening. Velo haya.
We don't stick to just half. We have when we have Rosh Chodesh or something. When we have second, we go only a small part of the parsha.
I'm talking about in half a parsha. Very, very little. Out of Parshas Pinchas is gigantic. The portion for Rosh Chodesh is very small. Velo haya mayim la'eda, mayim meriva. So Chazal, as we said, equate Torah to water, and water is Torah. Tani daf zayin amud aleph. Ma mayim menichin makom gavoa veholchin el makom namuch. Water will always find a way to trickle down to a low place. Kach divrei Torah en niknim ela b'mi shedatoi shveila. So too Torah can only be acquired by somebody who is humble. He is low. So I think we spoke in the past about different ideas why water is compared to Torah. But some say, when you see running water, it's the most beautiful thing. Running water is a source of energy. It gives life. It breathes, I don't know, this river flowing, and there are waterfalls and vegetation. It's mamish chiyus and energy coming from water. But what happens when you have stagnant water? It's a breeding ground for mosquitoes and can increase the spread of different diseases, growth of harmful bacteria and parasites, mold and fungal growth, and as organic matter decomposes in stagnant water, very unpleasant smell can develop and the water quality can deteriorate. That is why Torah is compared to water. Because just like the Torah, somebody who continues to steig and to advance and to climb on that ladder connecting him to Kodesh Baruch Hu is just like that water, gives energy and life to him and all the people around him. But if Khalila he becomes stagnant, like that water, it develops a very unpleasant odor to him and everybody around. By definition, in Torah, there is no such thing as to be stagnant. By definition, that's going down. Because every minute not used for Torah is a lost minute. It's lost forever. So, Mimele, water which is flowing is energy, is chiyus, is life itself. Torah, which is growing and a person tries to advance and to get more and more and more, that's chiyus. That's energy, that's life. And the opposite, Chalila, is very similar to stagnant water. Some say, in our Parsha, Miriam passes away. You have to sit Shiva, right? Real of the day. I think it's the second one. We'll have a few more. Who sat Shiva? And as a result, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was upset at him. Who sat Shiva? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is the time to sit Shiva now. A relative dies. You have to sit Shiva, no? He sits Shiva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu starts yelling at him. What are you doing? Yechezkel Hanavi. Who did he sit Shiva for? Did you go visit? Yechezkel Hanavi, you don't pay a Shiva? Im Kabbalah Mekabel, Im Ladin Yesh Tshuva. I need documentations. I need some sources. So he told him, Percha Chavu Shalecha. Who died that he sat Shiva for? Somebody dies, a relative dies, somebody wants to sit Shiva. He sits Shiva, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu starts yelling. What are you doing? Parshas Shavua! Chukas! Pilei Ploim. Medrash HaGadol, Yalkut Shimoni, and others. Vayavo Moshe ve'Aaron mipnei hakahal. What does this mean? Hayu yoshvin uboichin. Miriam just passed away. They were sitting inside, crying, mourning the loss of their sister. And Moshe didn't realize for 6 hours that Klal Yisrael outside are really upset. Nichnesu etzlo ve'amru. Klal Yisrael came in and said to Moshe, till when are you going to cry? Ad ma sayata boiche? Amar lahen. Velo evke ala choisi shemesa? Am I not cry? Should I not cry for my sister? She passed away. Pretty big tzadekis. I shouldn't cry. So Klal Yisrael said to him, Ad she'ata boiche al nefesh achas, you're crying for one person that died. Cry for us. We're all going to die. We don't have water. You're losing 600,000 people here because you're crying over one person. Miyad amad v'yatza imayin. Moshe got up. Not allowed to leave the house in the shiva, right? Moshe decided, they said, Davar Avid, I must. He gets out of the house and he saw the well, Miriam's well, is dry. And everybody's thirsty. So Moshe says to them, didn't I tell you? Lo uchal levadi se'eseschem. A pasuk from Parashas Devarim. Miyad ka'as HaKadosh Baruch Hu al Moshe ve'Aaron. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is angry with Moshe and Aaron, and he said to them, Amar lahem, Banai Meisim Batzama. Klal Yisrael is going to die. They're so thirsty. Ve'atem yoishvin u'misablin al zkeina zu. And you're mourning for this old lady who passed away? Therefore he told him, take the staff and go gather everybody and get some water for everybody out of the rock. Hashem, till when are you going to mourn for this old lady that passed away? If it wasn't Hashem speaking, we would be able to say such a thing. Miriam Anavia. Moshe is davening, gives us a chance to say something about davening. The Baal Shem Tov was about to enter a certain shul. And everybody goes in, and the Baal Shem Tov stands outside. And he can't enter. And they tell him, Rebbe, there's plenty of space. You can come in. You can't come in. Why can't you come in? The Baal Shem Tov says to them, this shul is full of Torah and Tefillah. It's saturated with Torah and Tefillah. I can't come in. Rebbe, there's plenty of space, and isn't it the greatest praise for a shul that it's saturated with Torah and Tefillah? Why don't you come in? Baal Shem says to them, because mitzvahs which are not done with a complete heart, with a pure intention, they stay down here. The shul is supposed to be empty of Tefillah, empty of Torah, because it's supposed to ascend up there. If the Torah and Tefillah are still in the shul, there's a problem with the shul, I can't come in. It's a cute story. But it appears already in Tikkunei HaZohar. Listen to a language of the Zohar. Ve'oraisa belodchilu urichimu Torah. Without love, without fear, lo parcha le'ela. It does not ascend up there. You need to do the external action, but you also have to have and to involve the purity of heart. Another riddle. Misham nasu vayachanu benachal Zared. That's the name of the river. Nachal Zared, name of a river. What was the width of this river called Nachal Zared?
I heard that it was very narrow.
Very narrow. Exact measurements? Yes. Medrash Agada. Why is it called Nachal Zared? It's Zared with a Daled, but Zeret is the pinky. Keloimar lo haya rochbo ela Zeret. The width of the entire river was a pinky. I don't know whose pinky. Maybe Olga Melech Habashton's pinky, but it's still very narrow. But that's the answer. 2 points. Since Klal Yisrael are traveling in the desert, it gives us a chance to ask Halachic Shaila, people traveling. There's a group of Yeshiva Bochim that went on a tiyul, went on a trip. They took a lot of food from the kitchen, the Yeshiva's kitchen, and they put it on the bus, and they went up north. And for breakfast, they ate whatever they had. Lunch, the yeshiva wanted to buy them something fleishik, but they didn't want. They insisted they wanted something, they wanted pizza. So they sent some of the bochim to the local pizza place. How much is it? We need 30 pies. It's 25 shekels a pie. Some of the guys wanted olives. If we add some olives, how much? 5 shekels an olive. Which means, instead of 25 shekels per pie, it's 30 shekels. 30 times 30 pies, 900. The bochim check how much money they have. They only have 750, which means 25 pies for 25 shekels per pie for 30 pies. We can't get the olives. Okay, fine. So they order and they pay for 30 pies, 25 shekels. One of the guys, one of the organizers of the trip says, "Wait a second. We brought a lot of food from the yeshiva. We put it in the bus." Wait a second. He runs to the bus. And he finds that they also had all kinds of cans. Some of them was sliced olives. He brings it back to the pizzeria. He goes in the back and he's speaking to the Arab worker there. And while he's speaking to him, he put some olives on the pizza. He didn't understand exactly what was going on. Excellent. Pizzas are ready. The worker brings it to the front, and the owner there is supposed to put them in boxes and close and give it to him. He says to them, well, what did you do? You made a mistake. They asked for regular pies. You gave them olives on their pies. They didn't ask for it. And the box says, no, that's okay. He didn't make a mistake. That's ours. I put the olives on the pizza, it's fine. He says to him, you put olives? And the pizza says, no, it's our olives. It's not a problem. He says, what do you mean? You're using my oven? You're using my trays? You have to pay. He says, these are our olives. Isn't it a classic example of zed nehene v'zeh lo chaser? You need extra heat to cook the olives? You need more space in your oven? What am I taking from you exactly? Anyways, it's going to be in the oven. What did I take from you? He says, it's 150 shekels. You know what? Pay 75. So I don't have to pay your dime. It's zeh nehene v'zeh lo chaser. Shimun HaRabbi said, Dayani Mumchim, what do you say? Do the Bochim have to pay or not? He has no right. So it's chutzpahnik. You have to pay for chutzpah? You have to do tshuva for chutzpah. It's a monetary shayla.
There's also, he also took the worker's time. It takes longer to put on olives.
He didn't ask the workers to do it. The yeshiva bochum himself did it. While the workers doing other things, he put it. He didn't take anyone's time. The pizza was placed in the oven that anyways is going to be placed in. The same heat, the same space. What exactly did I take from you? And if I didn't take anything from you, why should I pay you?
There's no loss. No.
What loss is there? You're saying I have to pay you for what? That's what he's saying.
The pizza shop is losing out.
What is he losing?
He knew that they wanted olives. And had they not put olives, he would have got paid.
What is he losing? We don't have money and we're not going to buy olives. What are you losing? Should I sell my car to buy your olives?
The potential money was.
There is no potential money because we decided we don't have the money. And then we thought about this very creative idea.
We could afford 25 olives instead. Less price.
And keep the bochim hungry?
They should have put the olives in after they received the.
We want hot olives. And let's say you're right. Did I take anything from the owner?
Yes, you did.
What did I take from him?
The fact is that you had mentioned the fact that you wanted with olives, and he said it's going to cost five more. He should have gotten the 5 more in essence.
He's never going to get it.
There's this. When one goes to a certain fancy place to drink something, you're not paying the coke for the coke. It's paying for everything else. Here they're paying for the heat.
You remind me of Rabbi Yisrael Salanter. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter once went to a coffee place and he got a coffee. And the guy charges him $10. $10? When I make coffee at home, it's about 3 cents for the coffee, 2 cents for the sugar, water's another. Where'd you get $10 from? He says, Rebbe, here you're not just paying for the coffee. Look at this beautiful decoration we have here. The music, you're paying for the ambiance. And that costs money. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter says to him, oh, yeshe koyach. You just explained to me, I always wondered, why do we say shehakol niya bidvaroi over coffee, water? Shehakol, the whole thing is niya bidvaroi. Yes, you're drinking your cup of coffee. Look around. Look, what a beautiful environment of Kodesh Baruch. What a decoration. Look at the sunrise, and look at the rivers, and look at the mountains. Shehakol, while I'm drinking this, shehakol niya bidvaroi. But how is this going to help us in this monetary shayla?
Because otherwise you would not have had the heat. The heat is a service. You like the decoration.
We're buying the pizzas and we're taking them out of here. I said we're going to close them in boxes. We're not using your ambiance.
He's using the heat to
The heat is not an ambiance. That's a vessel to produce pizza that anyways I'm using and it's inside. I'm not putting my head inside your oven. It's the pizza's going to go there. So what did I take from you? It's the same space, the same heat.
Two things. Number one is, if he was allowed to do that, taking all the future potential business, everyone's going to say, look, you can.
And if we don't tell anyone, if we're going to make sure that this in the recording, they cut this out, nobody's going to know about this. Then it's okay?
You go into a restaurant and it says you can't bring your own drink. It opens a can of worms. You're going to go sit in a restaurant and bring your own coke. You're going to bring your own chicken, bring your own everything. So a restaurant is providing a service, and if once they do it for you, you can't just say single out the person.
You're saying Lamani Ruvirao.
Isn't Chasser just if the person is not kind of a person that rents out, let's say, his pizza shop or his Chasser?
Right.
Over here, he sells hot olives. That's what he sells. So it's even if we don't say that.
But it's not like I'm not getting something else from you. And it's not like they have the money to spend and decide to use something. I don't have the money, and I am buying something else from you. On the way, I'm putting something else which doesn't take away anything from you.
But building on what you said before, I mean, now the word will spread. You know, went to the pizza, we're able to sneak in to the office, so nobody will buy any more the things. So there will be a physical, monetary loss.
We are dealing with a monetary shell. We're not dealing with, is this right to do so lechatchila or not? After the fact. But yeah, let's say you're right. We're going to put a big sign here. Now on, nobody should do it. We're going to lock the kitchen. Nobody's able to go in and speak to the worker and do this. But after the fact, does he have to pay?
It's no monetary, he doesn't owe him anything. Not nice to do it, it's a chutzpah, yeah?
Yeah.
He shouldn't do it.
Why doesn't he owe him?
And you can also see we could put toppings on our own pizza, right? They give you a pizza, you can put on Tabasco sauce, you can put on oregano, you can put on olives. So here we just put on the topping ourselves. We can't.
Harav, want to say something?
We're assuming that it doesn't take longer to cook all of people than a plain pizza.
Say, I didn't take anything from you. Say.
Maybe there's a difference.
He used the oven without his shoes. He used his oven.
Chutzpah. That's what the owner says. You're using my oven. He says, no chaser. Anyways, we would use it.
Is that not true that we don't?
It's not that I'm bringing my own pizza from the house and I'm putting it in your oven and I'm using other shoes. I'm putting it anyways the pizza's going in. The added bonus, the added olive doesn't do anything.
He's using the oven for the olives.
That's the time of the owner, is he right?
Is there knas in any way? Is there any compensation?
No knas. We don't do. We don't dinei knasos bezman hazeh. No knasos. Is he owe him or not?
Is there a difference? I don't know how to ask. And we're told that it's expensive then.
I don't think so. What's the difference? Lemaisi decided he can't buy the olives, doesn't have the money. It's not that he has the money. With his, I'm not going to give it to you. I have olives in the car. He doesn't have the money. Says the yeshiva bachur, you know you're a big chutzpahnik. He says to the owner, you're a big chutzpahnik. He says, why? I didn't put olives on your pizza. I put olives on my pizza. How does it work in a pizza place? You pay ahead of time. You pay when you order. And we did. I said before, they ordered, they paid. It's our pizza. Why are you telling me that I put olives on your pizza and you put... It's my pizza. And if it's my pizza, I can do whatever. You said before, you can put Tabasco, you put garlic. I'm putting something else. What's the difference to you? Says the owner, it's not so pashut what you're saying. When it's not busy, you came at a very busy time, middle of the afternoon. When it's not busy, I make the pizza based on your order. You order a pie, I make a pie for you. But when it's busy, and a lot of tourists, and a lot of visitors, people like you are traveling and coming back, big groups, we make a ton of pies. This is not your pizza. We make a ton of pies, and when you order 1 or 2 or 5, whatever, I'll give you some of the pie. Can you point and say, this is my pizza because I paid? None of those pizzas are yours. A pizza. I have an obligation, because you gave me the money, to give you a pie. But none of the pizzas are yours, so you improve something that belongs to me. It's my pizza. You put it on my pizza and you're using my oven. You're using my tray. Who gave you permission? And I'll prove it to you, he says. Let's say the pizza burns in the oven. Am I entitled to say, here's your pizza, it burnt? You're going to take that pizza and throw it at my head. And you're right. I have an obligation to give you a pie. And you're not going to accept it. It's your pizza that was burnt. No, then you're going to say, it's your pizza, Mr. Owner. You owe me a pizza. If somebody rushes into the store, an emergency, I don't know, pikuach nefesh shala, they need a pizza, I'm going to give them your pie. Maybe I'm chutzpahdik for doing so because you came before them, but I will. In fact, you guys wanted it to be ready in 15 minutes, and we started making the pies. You come back and you say, you know what, we're going to go for a little while, we're going to come back in half an hour. I'm going to give those pies to somebody else and make for you a little later to make them hot and ready. So this was never your pie. This is my pies. The Shiur Baruch says, no. Since we paid, it's our pies. If it's our pies, I can do whatever I want with our pies. It seems that the owner is right. It's not their pies. It's the pizza place pies. And if that's the case, you know what happened here? When the guy put the olives on somebody else's pizza, he's yoyed l'sdei chavero. He improved somebody else's. And the owner of the pizza has to pay him for the improvement. When you charge 5 shekels extra for the olives, it's not real price of the olives. Let's say it's 2.5 shekels for the olives and for the service and whatever burden you have. So Lemaise, the owner of the place has to pay him 75 shekels because you put pizzas on 30 pies. You improve something which belongs to me, I owe you. But now I can sell it to you as a 30 shekel pie. You did something for me, but I own it. It's mine. So now I have a pizza worth 30 shekels and I can give it to you. So Lemaise, you should be very happy that I only said to you initially, okay, you don't pay 75 shekels. Because Lemaise, that's what it's going to work out to. So they will have to pay another 75 shekels and Fatika Maise. Take the staff. I want you to gather everybody. V'dibartem el hasela. And you should do this le'ozneim, to the ears of Klal Yisrael. Right? Is that what it says in the pasuk? Not exactly. I changed just a little, just one word. Let's do it again. Kach es hamate v'hakel esayda. Take the staff. Gather all the people. Ata ve'aron achicha, you and your brother. V'dibartem el hasela le'ozneim. And speak to the rock, to their ears. Is that what it says? Le'eneyim. When is the last time you speak to somebody's eyes? Last week, if you remember, we spoke about HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu's hand, the luchos. Now, for some reason, he says to Moshe, now, when you should speak to the eyes of Klal Yisrael. Normally, people speak to ears of people, not to their eyes. Moshe is instructed to speak or to hit the rock. Speak. So why do you have to take the staff? You can make this pasuk shorter. You know, ink is very expensive these days. Make this pasuk shorter. Gather the people, speak to the rock, period. Or do so to the ears of Klal Yisrael, not to their eyes. So we have two shalas here. Why do you need the rock? And why do you need the staff? Because it's not going to be used. And why do you speak to the eyes of Klal Yisrael and not to their ears? So some explain. Klal Yisrael started believing that this staff has independent koyach. You know how many miracles were performed by this staff? The splitting of the sea. Moshe lifted all kinds of miracles. It doesn't stop. This is a powerful to its own. It's independent koyach. This is very dangerous. So Kodesh Baruch Hu says to him, I want you to take the staff. Gather everybody and speak to their eyes. I want them to see. It's not about hearing. I want them to see that the staff is in your hand, but you're not using it. You speak, and the words go upstairs. The Kodesh Baruch Hu listens, and the Kodesh Baruch Hu performs, because it has nothing to do with the staff. Chas v'sholom. To attribute any independent koyach to the matter, unless the Kodesh Baruch Hu infuses it with koyach and kedusha, then it will have. But otherwise, it's only about Kodesh Baruch Hu's will, that Kodesh Baruch Hu wants. So take the staff. Don't use it. Speak in front of their eyes. They should all see you moving your lips, but not moving the staff. And then they will know it's all coming from a Kodesh Baruch Hu's koyach, chas v'sholom. There is no koyach in the mate. So Moshe Rabbeinu hits that rock. But why? Why did he do so? The Sifri Medrash says, Keivan she'egia lechlal kaas, since he got angry, hegia lechlal taus. He made a mistake. Moshe Rabbeinu said, Shimon ha'amayim, listen you rebels. Oh, you got angry? You got angry, you made a mistake. But what was the mistake? What was the miscalculation of Moshe Rabbeinu? Says Reuven ben Gis, about 150 years ago, he gave smicha to Rebbe Yoshev. And Reuven ben Gis says the following, Givaldik. Chazal say, Bischar she'amar Avraham yukach na me'at ma'im. When the 3 Arabs come to visit Avraham Avinu, he does everything for them. He runs like Michigan. And he cooks and bakes and does everything on his own. But when it comes to water, what does he say? Yukach na. What does it mean, yukach? Water will be taken by whom? Not by me, by a shaliach. For the merit of whatever Avraham Avinu did, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will pay his descendants directly. But when he said water should be taken by a shaliach, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no problem, measure for measure, your descendants will get water through a shaliach. So Moshe Rabbeinu said, but wait a second. If I speak as the Rebbeinu Shalom instructed me, I'm going to have a problem. My name is Moshe. Shechina medaberes migroini. Shechina speaks out of my throat. If the Shechina speaks and it's not really me speaking, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to give his descendants water through a shaliach, it's going to be HaKadosh Baruch Hu directly giving them water. That's no good. That's why he hit the rock. Gewaldig. So what's the mistake? As if, lechoira, he forgot a Gemara in Psochim Samech Vav. Anyone who gets angry, Shechina is removed from him. If the Shechina is removed from him, for you're going to speak to the rock, it's not the Shechina, it's you, Moshe. You are Shaliach. Maybe you can do it. So what did it cause him to make the mistake? He got angry. If you get angry, you're going to make mistakes. The Rashbam mentions what Chazal say in Yevamos Kuf Chaf Aleph, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is medakdek with tzaddikim kechut hasara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is strict with his tzaddikim. Birth of a hair. Why is he so strict with him? It doesn't sound good. There's such tzaddikim, you're so strict with him. The Yitav Slev says, no, it's the opposite. Mistama, you know some people, when they sleep, if you roll over them, you bring a tractor and they're still sleeping. And some of them, you just blink. And they're like, oh, what's wrong? Some of them, you just push lightly and they wake up. Some of them, you touch one hair and they're already up. Why does the Kodesh Baruch Hu punish? Revenging God? Chas v'sholom. It's to awaken us to do tshuva. The greater the tzaddik, the less of a punishment he needs to realize something is wrong. I need to do some introspection and to rectify what I did. With tzaddikim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is medaktek only kechut asara. He gives them a tiny little punishment, and that's like touching the hair of somebody who's a light sleeper, and that's enough to wake up the tzaddik to do tshuva. It's the opposite of what we always thought. We thought he's so strict to the tzaddikim, he's willing to punish him for something small they did. That's not what it means. He's medaktek to only punish him with a tiny little thing, like touching one's hair. It really doesn't bother you. But even the slightest change in the tzaddik's life, something's wrong. I got to fix it. I did something wrong. I got to do tshuva, because the tzaddik awakens his heart with a tiny little touch in order to do tshuva. Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu enter Eretz Yisrael? Simple question. Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu? Why was he punished? Hit the rock. I think 99% of people will say that. Because of hitting the rock. So you are the 99.3. 99 people will say hit the rock. You advanced.
How do you go to throw, then the world will come to perfection or something?
That's what. But if it's a tzaddik gamo, he doesn't make any mistakes, he should go in. You know what would happen if he would have gone in? As if, Baruch Hashem, that he didn't enter. But what's the reason that prevented him from coming in? Lechoira here at the rock. This is not so. You know why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't enter Israel? Because he didn't daven. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't daven. How many times did he daven? 515 times the Gimatiyah Va'eschanan. Why do you tell me he didn't daven? And he only stopped because the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, stop! Stop! You tell me he didn't daven. The last part of the Medrash Dvarim Rabbah in Vezois Sabracha, Parsha Yud Aleph Ois Yud. Very, very moving. It talks about the argument, the fight that Moshe Rabbeinu has with Malach HaMavis. Malach HaMavis is coming to take Moshe's life, and Moshe insists, no, I have to stay. I'm staying. Arguing back and forth. Omar Rabbi Yochanan, 10 pa'amim, 10 times the word death is associated with Moshe Rabbeinu in the Torah. Umus bahar hazeh, he'asef, vayamus sham Moshe aved Hashem, vayi acharei Moshe, Moshe avdi mes, maves. 10 times the word, why so many times? Rabbi Yochanan teaches us, melamed, that up to 10 times it was decreed on him that he's not going to enter the land, but this decree was not sealed. Yet, Amar lo, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe, Gzeira hi milefanai shelo ta'avor. There's a decree. You're not going to pass. Shene'emar ki lo ta'avor es hayarden hazeh. You will not pass. You will not cross the Jordan River. This is kind of frightening now. But I'm quoting you a Medrash Rabbah. V'davar zeh haya kal be'einav shel Moshe. Moshe took it lightly. Why? Because he said, Yisrael sinned grave sins. And every time I asked Rachamim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened. The pasuk says, Heref mimeni ve'ash midem. I'm going to destroy your nation. And right after that, Vayinachem Hashem al hara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, no problem. Akenu badever ve'orishenu. Let me destroy them. And Moshe Rabbeinu davens to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, V'yamir Hashem, salachti. Me, says Moshe about himself, shelo chatasi mineuai. I never sinned from my youth. How much more so that when I get to daven, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will accept. No rush. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that Moshe Rabbeinu was not running to start davening, בכיוון שראה הקדוש ברוך הוא שדבר זה קל בעיניו של מוישה ואינו עומד בתפילה, and he's not standing to daven. מיד קפץ עליו ונשבע בשמו הגדול. So הקדוש ברוך הוא takes a שבועה, you are not going to enter the land. You know Choni HaMe'agel? Where did Choni HaMe'agel learn to make a little circle to stand inside for Moshe Rabbeinu? Continues the Medrash and says, Moshe was the original Choni. He made a circle and he jumped right in, wearing a sackcloth. Ashes all over his body. And he's davening HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So much so, he davened that the heaven and earth shook. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu declares, in every gate, in Sha'arei Shamayim, in every Beis Din, do not accept his prayer. Too late, buddy. Shh. So why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu enter Eretz Yisrael? If all that was needed was one more, he had 5:15. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, stop! And one more will tilt the scales. Because he didn't rush to daven. Davar ze haya kal be'einav shel Moshe, was light in the eyes of Moshe. Ask the Sfas Emes. I don't understand. When he davened, when he finally got to it, and he davened 515 times, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, stop. I have to stop. I knew directive from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, stop. You stop. Fine. But why didn't you throw the sword down for him? You don't want your beloved leader to be with you? So Moshe Rabbeinu didn't tell the people, daven for me, because maybe he thought they're also included. Just like I can't continue to daven for this matter, Klal Yisrael can't daven for it. But why didn't the people on their own wake up and say, we have to daven for him? HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, stop, so he can daven. But we, of course, can and should. Because the tzibur made a wrong kal vachomer, which I think we do many times. The tzibur says, come on. They didn't listen to Moshe Rabbeinu's prayer. Bechir Amin HaEnoshi, the most exalted man who ever lived. And they're going to listen to me, Yochanan ben Moshe Yochanklatz. Come on. They're going to listen to my prayer, Reuven ben Rachel. When they don't listen to Moshe, it doesn't make any sense. So what's the sense? They didn't daven. And I think we do this calculation many times. You daven. They don't listen, so we stop. But this calculation is so wrong because in Gemara Brochos, Daf Ches Amud Aleph Chazal say, never does HaKadosh Baruch Hu reject the prayer of tzibur. You have such a koyach when you come as a tzibur. More so than Moshe. To Moshe, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says stop, but he never told us to stop. And once we daven, as a group, HaKadosh Baruch Hu never rejects our prayer. So Mimele, why did Moshe Rabbeinu enter Eretz Yisrael? The Gezerah, the decree was set because of the sin. He hit the rock, they told him to speak to it. You're right. But why was it executed? Because he did daven fast. Oh, you didn't fast? You didn't daven fast enough? That's fine, there's a fix. Klal Yisrael should daven. But they made this wrong. Kal v'chomer, what's the sense? Nobody's going to listen to me up there if they don't listen to Moshe Rabbeinu. And we made it, that's why Moshe Rabbeinu didn't enter Eretz Yisrael. I think the...
Why it says the base 10 times?
Yeah. Melamed, says Rabbi Yochanan, this comes to teach us that 10 times it was decreed in order to propel Moshe to action. You know, you're not going to enter, you're not going to enter, you're not going to enter. And Moshe was supposed to, oh, let me daven. But davar ze haya kal be'einav. It was light in the eyes of Moshe. He says, when I daven for Klal Yisrael, he always listens to me. Always. When I daven for me, he's not going to listen. I'm a tzaddik. I never sinned from my youth. Medrash Shabbat, Dvarim Rabbah, Parsha Yud Aleph, Ois Yud. I gave you only a very short summary. It's very, very moving. You must read it. A whole argument. Malach HaMaves and Moshe Rabbeinu. Wow. Mamish Pilei Ploim. The first time I read it, Zalgu Einai Dmaos. It's so moving, it causes you mamish to cry. Lemaise, I think the Musar Haskel for us is, let's stop making this wrong kal vachomer. When there is something to daven for, we must daven, whether it's something we want for ourselves, whether it's something that the tzibur needs. When was the last time HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you, stop davening? He only said it once to Moshe Rabbeinu. As long as he doesn't tell you stop, we must daven. But you see, from here, it's not just about davening. It's about rushing to daven. Because that's where the real koyach comes from. That's the only true koyach that we have. Tefillah, mitzvos, and maisim tovim, nimitz Hashem. For the merit of mitzvos, maisim tovim, tefillah and Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be mismale berachamim. And nimitz Hashem, we're going to see the geula hashleima bekorov biyameinu v'noimar omen.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.